Beautiful. Thank you, Don Necco. Beautiful music to start us off here today. Good morning. Happy Halloween. I've kind of morphed a little bit. So, good morning to everybody. This is Unity of Gainesville, Georgia's service on the 5th Sunday of October, and I am Cindy Balkstra, and I'm serving as your celebration assistant today. Reverend Jeanie Ward is our speaker, and her topic is rekindling enthusiasm. So I thought I would be enthusiastic and be in proper attire for the day. Reverend Jeannie's talk will be all about rediscovering what lights you up, reawakening to that ineffable energy that's within you and certainly all around you, reconnecting with the power that dissolves your doubts, your fears, your anxieties, and the presence that fuels your purpose and your passion for life. Henry Ford said, "Enthusiasm is the yeast that makes your hopes rise to the stars." Isn't that a great quote? Now, I have a couple of church announcements. I wanted to make sure that everybody remembers to join us and makes plans to join us for our homecoming celebration on November 21st. We will be celebrating 20 years at our current location at 3415 Stansel Road. Can you believe it? 20 years. And also that day, we will be celebrating and recognizing our volunteers. So, if you think about it, we could not do hardly anything that we are doing now without our volunteers. So we will be celebrating the wonderful volunteers that we have had and the ones that we currently have and even the ones that we'll have in the future, along with our homecoming. So that is all scheduled for November 21st. Next, I would like you to see this graph. Look at that red line up the thermometer. Holy moly. We have raised $9,100 as of 10/29. That is just unfathomable. But with spirit, as we know, all things are possible. And thank you for spirit of abundance throughout all of us. We have definitely shown our love for our church home, and because we have been so generous and so good at getting monies raised for our HVAC system, we can now, and actually we have now scheduled the HVAC units to be installed. We're going to fund the rest of the monies needed, which is about $12,000 with some of our reserve account. And that schedule is, installation is scheduled for November 10th and 11th. We will be needing some help. I think the notice is going to go out to volunteers for help on the 9th to get things out of the attic because we need to make space for the new HVAC. And just remember that the fundraiser is not really over because we want to keep our maintenance reserve funds intact. We want to keep building and not depleting our financial stability. One of our Unity teachers, Catherine Ponder, stated, "Prosperity is omnipresent, and you cannot impoverish yourself by giving. That it just doesn't happen. That opens the way for you to receive." So thank you all for digging deeply into your treasures and trusting the law of abundance along with us. You are certainly love in action. So we are, as I said, continuing to the fundraiser to reestablish the rest of our maintenance reserve funds. You know, anybody that owns anything knows that anything can happen at any time, so we need to be prepared. And I think I'll leave it at that. You have many opportunities to give. So thank you for anybody who's visiting with us or first-time attendees. We hope this is not your your first time. We hope that you come back again and again. And I want to take this opportunity to share with you what I love about Unity of Gainesville. So I was looking through LinkedIn a little bit this morning earlier as I was getting myself kind of in centered and in line with spirit. And I ran across a quote, and now, of course, I can't find it, but it basically went something like this. Be the person that people love to be around, to hear what you have to say, but also be the person that loves to listen and allows people to feel understood. And that's how I feel about Unity of Gainesville, Georgia. I feel very heard when I speak. I feel very like I am able to listen very well to others and learn from each and every one. And so it just sets up a wonderful experience in both directions as we learn and listen to each other. Don, I would like you to bless us with your presentation of I Am Free, I Am Unlimited by Janet Bowser Manning.
Yes, good morning, everybody. And that hymn is from the Unity hymnal, Wings of Song, which we don't get out very often. But I like to go in there because there are some familiar ones, and I think probably many of you know this. And we'll go through it twice. Hopefully you're muted, but you can sing at home and tap your toes. So here we go. I am free and I'm unlimited. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. Once again. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now.
All right. Thank you, Don. That was wonderful. And now I need to grab my daily word. I completely forgot to bring it over here. Let me give you one breather of a second and I'll grab it. My apologies. Here we are with protected as the word of the day. I find my protection in the light of faith and truth. I smile and act frightened as I recognize the neighborhood children who come to my door wearing scary masks and costumes. Children of all ages enjoy playing make-believe. Pretend fright is part of the fun of Halloween. Now and then, in response to an unexpected and unwelcome challenge, more serious thoughts of fear seep into my mind and upset my emotional well-being. At the first hint of unease, I remember that all of the protecting power of God is as near as my next thought. I say no to fear, and I say yes to faith. My confidence grows as I practice the divine presence, discovering not only the protecting power, but also the guiding love and wisdom of God everywhere I go and in everything I do. From Psalm 18, verses 31 and 32. For who is God except the Lord? And who is a rock besides our God? The God who girded me with strength and made my way safe. Let that sink into our thoughts and our actions today, and we say, so it is, amen. We have wonderful prayer chaplains who are anxious to pray with you and for you. We have a powerful prayer partner team who are available to join with you and your loved ones in prayer. Call the office or send a request to the church email address. You also may download the youpray.com app on your smartphone and join with others in prayer. And you should see that on your screen now, the unityofgainesville.org/chaplains web address. Please join with me in praying over the requests that we have already received and placed on our prayer list. And at home, you may speak softly the names of those that you would like to include in this time of prayer. And I give you a few seconds of silence to do that. We know for these names, spoken and unspoken, that God is the active energy of life, love, health, and peace. As we release this prayer to the energy of the divine, we know and affirm that all is working for the highest and the best in all conditions, and so it is. Amen. Reverend Jeanie, I'm going to turn it over to you now for this great message that we're about to hear on rekindling enthusiasm.
Thank you so much, Cindy. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm excited, enthused, and totally jazzed to be here with all of you this morning. For those of you who are joining us through Unity of Gainesville, their live Facebook stream, and just knowing that you are exactly where you are meant to be this morning, as we all have the privilege and joy to co-create this morning. So I invite you to just allow yourself to take a deep breath right now. I invite you to do that, to be very present here this morning during this time in which you have chosen to be here. And I also believe you are here by divine appointment. So thank you all, and thank you, team, for making this happen, and for all of you that are joining us to stoke the fire of faith and enthusiasm. And that's going to be the theme I'm going to run with this morning, if you will. It's like running energy, and we're going to be fanning those flames and coming together in this co-creative process as we expand our faith and recognize what a difference it can make when we are truly aware of the energy being that we are, and what it takes for us as spiritual beings in these magnificent human bodies to be enthusiastic, to be engaged, to be able to encounter whatever life presents to us. And I know we could all say we've had all kinds of close, crazy, and wild encounters of all kinds, especially in the last couple of years. And I know, and you know, we all know that it's always going to be happening. You know, life in the beautiful way that it presents itself, we are going to be encountering all kinds of things. And it's really offering these wonderful moments to ask ourselves, are we engaging with something? Or do we have the energy to engage? Perhaps we're exhausted or depleted. Perhaps we're just someplace else, distracted. And when Cindy read the beginning and description of my talk this morning, it's that recognition and that reawakening to that power and presence that we are, that is already within us. In fact, the word enthusiasm, for those of you who might not be aware, that word originates from the Greek word entheos, and that means the God within. How perfect is that? And in Unity, you know, we all hear about the kingdom of heaven is within us. And that's where, if we can use the analogy of our home fires are burning. And so as we move into this fall season, this time of letting things fall away and sinking our roots more deeply into that soil of substance, it's such a great time to tap into that energy and to allow ourselves to experience something different and to make a choice how we want to do that. And if we are aware that we are these spiritual beings, that we are an expression of the divine, and that we are that divine spark, right? So again, all these things that I'm saying to you is that recognition that we are electric. We are that very fire, that eternal flame. And when we allow ourselves to truly know that, then we can be very conscious and very present with, how am I going to stoke my spiritual fire? What am I going to do in order to bring that about and to make that happen? The quote that Cindy offered you at the beginning was one that I found by Henry Ford that does say, enthusiasm is the yeast that makes your hopes rise to the stars. And I think that's such a powerful quote, because it's the ingredients. It's what we bring to the party, if you will. Even Cindy with her adorable little Halloween get up there to show up this morning in the way that she did, with her enthusiasm and her beautiful authenticity. And I think it's asking us oftentimes, how are we showing up? And saying, wow, do I even have the desire to show up? Maybe I am struggling with some things. That's part of that human journey. So fall is a great time to say, I'm consciously choosing to let go and release all that no longer serves me, so that I'm not weighed down, so that I'm not burdened by this dense, heavy energy collectively, which is very palpable on the planet right now. Very palpable. And it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it, because we can go into judgment about that. And we can say, we start pointing fingers, or that inner critic or that judgment starts to happen. And as soon as we do that, we have cut ourselves off. And what we've done is we've let our inner fire begin to be depleted, and it starts to what? It starts to dwindle. Okay, so it's recognizing, is my inner fire dwindling? And if it is, how can I rekindle, so we can go from dwindle to rekindle? Okay, and it's such an exciting thing, because we get to participate. We get to choose how we want to do it. And I wanted to use the analogy of a fire. Actually, I think of fall as a campfire. I think of people being outside, whether you're roasting marshmallows or making s'mores or whatever you're doing, or simply enjoying that wonderful energy that comes from that fire. It's indescribable, at least I think it is. To me, it's very soothing and comforting, and I can use all kinds of words to describe it. But to me, it's a feeling that we can have. And even if you have a fireplace in your home, something that maybe it's still a wood fireplace, because that's the analogy that I'm going to use this morning, rather than the artificial gas fireplaces. That's great, because it still brings that to us. But what I want to offer you is the analogy of building a fire. Because when our inner fire has lost its strength and its power, what do we typically do? We go, oh, okay, well, the fire's dwindling. Well, that's nice. Sometimes we want somebody else to tend our fire. We look to somebody else or something outside of us. When truly one of the steps that I have for you this morning is about recognizing that it's our responsibility. It's our responsibility, each and every one of us, to tend to our own inner fire. Okay? And to know that maybe what stokes my fire and gets me all juiced up and jazzed up is not necessarily going to be the same thing that stokes your fire. Your relationship with source, with spirit, with God, the divine, whatever you want to call it, is uniquely yours. And what is magnificent to me is that we can all come together around that campfire, that collective campfire. Just envision that. If we're all around this collective campfire and we're bringing what our stories and our different experiences, we can share stories that are sometimes very, very challenging and very difficult to share. But what can happen in that collective burning, if you will, it's a wonderful time to come together for healing, for community. That's unity, community, come together in that collective gathering, and to be able to be so present and allow what needs to burn off, allow what needs to remain. And it's a transmutation process. It's more than transformation. It's really watching sort of an alchemical process, if you will, where things are changing form. The energy is there, but the form of it is dissipating. That was one of the things that when Cindy had read earlier about the power that dissolves our doubts and our fears, and it can dissipate a lot of those sticky things that want to hang around and cling to us. So when we bring our stories, we can come together in this time of release and renewal and reawakening and say, you know what? I'm going to rewrite this story. No, I'm not even going to rewrite it. I'm going to start a brand new one. And that is such a magnificent and life-changing moment if we are present to it. So what is it that lights you up? If somebody said to you, okay, I am interested in supporting you and stoking your fire, would you know how to answer them? What would you say to them? Or might you say, well, okay, thank you, but I've got it. Okay, I'm under control. I've got it all together. I can handle it. I think that's sometimes what we do in unity and in New Thought and in life. We go, I don't need anybody to help me out here. And even though I said a minute ago, it's our responsibility, it is ultimately. But part of that also includes receiving help, receiving support, rather than saying, oh, okay, I've got this. And we even do that with God, do we not? We say, okay, God, I've been given this challenge, or my fire's going out and I know what I need to do here, and I've got this, and we cut ourselves off. And we cut ourselves off from the very breath of God, the very source of what I'll say oxygen, just like a fire. What does a fire need to continue to burn? It's got to have oxygen, does it not? It needs to breathe. Okay, so when you think about a fire in a fireplace, even a campfire, and if you just sit there and you watch it and you let it do its thing, and sometimes that's great because you want it to die out, there's still going to be some coals and embers there. Okay, and that is, I think, a great analogy for us. Is our inner light still bringing some kind of energy that all it's going to take is what I mentioned earlier, for me to tap into something, for me to bring something to my inner fire that's like the poker. You have a poker, or you shake up the fire, and then what starts to happen? Everything starts to move, and then you see a little bigger flame, and then another flame, and then another flame. And sometimes if you're not careful, and we do this too, and that's the beauty of all that we are in our humanness, sometimes our fire's out of control, right? And we feel like we are raging. So it's recognizing the extremes that we can go to in our human experience. And it's being able to say, okay, I'm going to learn more about my inner fire, my inner spark, how to rekindle, and to have that fire be a nice, slow, steady burn. And that's oftentimes at a campfire, you want that nice, slow, steady burn so you can enjoy it and you can what? Be present with it. I don't know about all of you, but I love to watch a flame sometimes. In fact, there's some meditations that actually have you gazing into a flame. If you're finding your mind is all over the place and your thoughts are running rampant and all kinds of things are going on, we can certainly use our breath, and that's a very powerful way to bring us back to the moment. But sometimes simply lighting a candle. So that's what I'm going to do right now, is light this candle, and I will show this to you all. Okay, so you can see it, and I have this candle lit right here, and I want to have that be an example, a very physical example of what I think we are called to do sometimes. Is we say that we're going to do all these things, but we forget to do the one thing, the very thing that can be what? A reminder. We need reminders. And sometimes our community, if we allow it to be, can offer us those reminders. It's kind of like people, I think, now on their phones. I know I certainly do on my phone, and I'm grateful for the things that it offers me. I don't use my phone any more than I have to, but I can put alerts on there or little things to remind me. And oftentimes I believe in our spiritual practice and in rekindling our enthusiasm, okay, the God within, to rekindle that and keep that going. We create and we can repattern habits that truly serve us, but it requires commitment, and it requires what? Consistency. So in order to reestablish patterns, in order for us to tend to our inner fire and to keep that entheos, moving and that energy in motion, there is that ineffable presence that can always be available to us, and it always is. It's whether or not, again, if we say, okay, maybe I need to light a candle in the morning and just sit and be present with that candle. Maybe there's, for those of you who live out in the mountains, which I know a lot of you do, and even this background behind me, it's like bringing the forest to me, so that I can have things that truly stir my soul and stoke my inner fire. The other thing too that's so important is, just like the fire requires certain things, when that oxygen is there for it, what is actually happening? We are feeding that fire. It is nourishment, yes, just like us. And these bodies, okay, which I know we have challenges with sometimes, it's easy to forget. Okay, yes, I'm breathing. Okay, I think I'm breathing. Maybe I am. Maybe I need to do more conscious breathing. But how am I nourishing the physical body? What kinds of choices am I making with not just my thoughts? That's powerful, but I'm talking about physical substance here. Just like God is our substance and source, what about the food that you ingest? To be very present and mindful with that. Are there some habits and things that you're doing now that you're like, that's probably not the best choice for me right now, and maybe I'm doing some stress eating or I'm emotional eating, or that kind of thing. I know that's how I lived a lot of my life, and many of you know that, I used to weigh over 300 pounds, and my body, I was not serving my body, and you know what? It could not serve me very well. It's a reciprocal relationship. And so I tried many times throughout my life, but 25 years ago, I was in so much pain, emotional and physical. And, the universe was knocking at my door. And I'm like, okay, Jeanie, it's time to make some changes. And I did it differently than all the other times I had tried. And I wasn't even into New Thought and Unity back then. I went inside. And I guess at that time, I did some rekindling, but I wasn't even aware that I was doing it. But I started listening and honoring my body and what it was really asking me to do, and to offer myself compassion, to offer myself understanding, and all these different choices with food and with the people that I was, having in my life, relationships. That's another thing that's so important, the relationships. And I know a lot of us have really struggled this last year and a half, some more than others. A lot of relationships have changed. People have moved in and out of our lives. We've been able to see things in a way that we never have before. We have felt things in a way we never have before. And it's been a lot. So right now, that nourishment of our body with the food we ingest, the water we drink, all of those things. And that's a whole other series of talks about that and how we can tailor that to truly honor each of us so that we can be healthier, stronger together in the whole, in the oneness, in that collective experience. So rekindling our enthusiasm is not just for our own inner fire, but that's where it begins, is it not? Imagine if we all, I always think of towards the end of the year, and then when we have the burning bowl, and then we have at the beginning of the year, when we set the intention, and then I was thinking Christmas time, or when we all have a candle, okay? And then all of a sudden, there are out in the congregation all these beautiful souls, and we each light a candle. For those of you who have experienced that, you know what I'm talking about. That is a collective, amazing experience. And not only is it visually powerful, but energetically, what is it? It is stoking that fire, unlike anything else, because we are here to be that beacon. And if our fire is, being snuffed out, and maybe we're doing it or we're allowing something to do it, I'm inviting all of you this morning to truly, truly sit with it for a minute. Pay attention to, if you are building your fire, if your fire's gone out, what is it going to take? I always think of my dad when I was a little girl. We had moved to Georgia. I think I was 12 at the time. And I had never been around a fireplace. I had never seen that before. Okay. And we had moved to Georgia, and we had this fireplace, and my dad was always about, well, the air needs to flow through it proper. Okay, so what does that say? Is the divine flowing through us, or have we cut off that flow? And he would talk about, you open the damper thing. Okay, what is that? How can we relate to that? Are we opening ourselves up, or have we shut that damper? Okay, and sometimes when you shut the damper, what's going to happen? You light the fire, it gets all smoky, and all the toxic stuff happens. Is that not familiar? Think about it for a minute. If we shut ourselves off and we clamp that off, we start to become toxic. We are not here to be stagnant. We are dynamic, divine beings. And so rekindling that fire, the God within, requires all of these things, and it can be fun. It's not something laborious unless you choose it to be, or perhaps it could be a labor of love and a labor of passion that you get so caught up in that it's pure joy. But I remember he'd say, okay, you have to do this. And then in order to start the fire, you need to have some kindling, and that has to be drier wood, okay? Because it needs to ignite. Well, that'd be like you. Maybe there's some things in your life that are like kindling. As soon as it happens, you immediately feel what? That flame being ignited, and you get all excited, right? And on fire, right? I remember going to some Baptist churches when I first came to Georgia and said, on fire for God. I'm like, okay, that was a little scary at first, but I got what they meant, so I kind of better where I am now. Like, I'm on fire, but a little differently. Okay. But it's great because we have lost the passion. We have lost our enthusiasm in so many ways. And it's understandable because we have been going through so much on so many levels. And it's knowing that unless we choose to stay there, we can change it. And that's, again, back to what I said at the beginning. It's our responsibility in the collective to do our tending to our inner flame. So my dad would light the kindling, and then he would place very strategic logs on there. And he'd say, well, honey, the logs need to be seasoned. And I thought, I don't even know what the heck that means. What does season mean? I just thought, you have some logs and you stick them on the fire. Okay. But he'd say, no, it needs to be seasoned, meaning it needs to have dried out to a certain extent in order for it to burn. Otherwise, you're going to have a smoky fire and it's not going to work. Again, what am I saying? I'm saying pay attention to what you're building your fire with. Okay. How you are starting from scratch, perhaps. And if nothing else, I think of the old, there was a gentleman on TV, and I can't think, there are so many. If you're really lost, what do you want to do? You want to find two sticks and you want to rub them together, right? Because what? You can have that spark. And maybe sometimes that's how you're feeling, like, I'm empty, I have nothing, I don't even have two sticks to rub together. But you know what? Maybe not physically, but in your soul, you do. Within you is what? As we learn and we hear about all the time, within you is all that you need. You already have it within you. And even though it may feel like your inner fire has totally died out, I understand our emotions can have us feeling a certain way, but it's recognizing that we are not our emotions. We are not our thoughts. We are what? That divine expression of the God within. If you asked yourself right now, on a scale of 1 to 10, and 1 being just barely a flicker, or maybe you have some embers still kind of lit up a little bit, or 10 being you've got this really awesome fire and it's just the best ever, where would you be on that scale of 1 to 10 right now if you had to put a measurement, if you will? And it's only for your own personal awareness. It's like, where are you on that scale? You know, do you need to add something to it? Or are you saying, hey, no, I'm pretty good. I've got a beautiful fire. It's warming my heart and soul. It's giving me all that I need. Oh, but you know what? I want to share it. Oh, I want to share it with somebody. So maybe I need to what? Expand my inner fire, shine it brighter, and allow my compassion, my warmth, my caring to go out even further, to warm the hearts and souls of those that I know have felt very cut off lately, feel very isolated. And what? Because we can feel separate, can we not? And once we do that, it's often very difficult to find our way back. So remembering that within you is that divine spark and you are that very thing is so important. And all the people here at Unity of Gainesville and the people that have tuned in and anybody who listens to this, I really invite you to know that you are not alone in this collective fire pit. We are all here together. And when we can be present with each other and truly see each other without judgment, without criticism, without pointing a finger, or all of those things that we can do when we're in that place of separation and coming from our ego self. If we can say, it is important to me to keep that flame burning and to share that with others, I'm telling you what, we will light a fire in a beautiful way. Not that it's out of control, like we've seen the fires in different parts of the world happen, but we can light a fire that is what I think of the Olympic flame, when it just burns and it burns and it burns. It's like carrying a torch for God. How about that? That we can each say, here, let me hand this off to you because perhaps you need to be reminded you are part of this too. And we are all in this together. So I had a couple quotes that I just wanted to share with you as I wrap up, and I just want to show you this candle is burning. I don't know if you can how well you can see it. There you go. It's there. It's awesome, just like all of you. Thoreau says, enthusiasm is a supernatural serenity. Ooh, let me read that again. Enthusiasm is a supernatural serenity. Because as I said earlier, enthusiasm is what? Entheos, the God within. It's like saying the God within is a supernatural serenity. Can you just feel that? Just feel that. It's like spirit and source. When we're in that place, we do feel comforted and serene and connected and at peace. And it's so amazing. And I know you know what I'm talking about. Another wonderful quote is when we're really tapped into that enthusiasm, again, it's an energy. So Earl Nightingale, some of you may be familiar with him, creativity is a natural extension of our enthusiasm. Creativity, a natural extension. And here in Gainesville, with all that you are creating and in the community, what? It's recognizing you are so in this creative process. The things Cindy shared at the beginning of the talk and what's happening, that abundance, that creation, that life force, that energy is streaming. And I would venture to say that you probably are doing a whole lot of rekindling. Yes, absolutely. So that you can burn that fire and truly say, yes, here we are shining our light in beautiful ways at Unity of Gainesville. And this last one, and this is so spot on because enthusiasm is also about faith. Enthusiasm is nothing more or less than faith in action. Faith in action, and I know you all heard that a million times because we are what? Are we not? What? A faith in action, right? The flame would be what? The flame is brighter and stronger than ever. That's my faith that I know the home fires are burning strong and the light is going throughout the world to be a nourishment and a support for all beings. And the last quote is by Rumi. Let yourself be drawn by the stronger pull of that which you truly love. When you truly love something and you are drawn and pulled to it, you're naturally going to default to enthusiasm because that is the God within, the love that you are. So I invite you this morning to pay attention to how you're building your fire, or if it's totally burned out, or wherever you are on that spectrum, and to allow yourself to know that within you is all that you need. It's already there. You don't have to go anywhere to gather sticks to add to the fire. They're already within you. Just have a very intentional commitment to say, yes, I am choosing in this moment to open my heart, to open my mind, my body and soul, and to breathe in that very energy and breath of God that will stoke my inner fire so that I can shine and I can be the light of the world. Thank you all so much for listening, and shine, stoke it good, light it up. And I love you all so much. Many blessings to you today.
God and I are one. God and I are one. God is love, then I must God in us are one.
I invite you now to join me in this time of conscious connection, this time of gathering around the collective fire pit, coming together, each with our inner flame, each present and aware of the breath that is breathing us now. So take a conscious, deep, gentle, and powerful breath. And as you breathe in, notice that flow that will stoke that internal fire, allowing it to glow and to grow and to spread throughout the community, locally, globally, into the cosmos and beyond. This divine energy, the supernatural serenity that we are choosing to stream within us, around us, through us, and beyond us. Breathing in fully, consciously, gratefully. We generate this powerful force, amping it up, expanding it, this powerful energy of enthusiasm, the God within me recognizes and acknowledges and celebrates the God within each of you. I invite you to be very aware of that from this moment forward and in this next day ahead, moment by moment. Very present with your choices. Very present with the awareness and the remembrance of all that you are as this divine spark. Fanning the flames within you, growing your faith stronger, focused, and yet free to create, to shine, to share your inner glow so that others can see and know the truth of who they are, the light that they are, and perhaps receive from you the rekindling, the reigniting of their faith within, of their fire within. Forward, onward, upward, we celebrate. And we are so very grateful for this inner knowing, for the God within and the God without, the God everywhere present, and the privilege that we have to be part of this collective flame of consciousness. Breathing in even more consciously and aware right now. Breathing in enthusiasm. Breathing in the enriching power of your breath, the nourishing energy. Feeling it in every cell and fiber of your being. From the top of your head to the tips and fingers of your toes. We are nourished and blessed by the fire within. And we are so honored and overjoyed, overflowing with enthusiasm to be the keepers of our fire within individually and collectively. We come together in this moment of now. In oneness, we celebrate the eternal flame. And so it is.
Into my hand I commit my spirit. Thy will is my will. Heal me at depth so that I may be one with God. Reveal that which need to be revealed. Heal that which needs to be healed, so that I may be one with God. Reveal that which needs to be revealed. Heal that which needs to be healed, so that I may be one with God.
Thank you. Thank you, Don, for the beautiful music. And thank you, Reverend Jeanie, for lighting the fire in all of us and rekindling our enthusiasm. I love it. Especially this time of year, I love that metaphor of the fire and the flame and campfires and all of that. It's really good. Next week, we will have Reverend Danny Spears with us, and Kristen Justice will return as our musician. And I'd like to now call for the offering. This is the time when you can contribute your financial love and support to our spiritual community that we call home. You can use your smartphone and do the text and give, and the number's on your screen. You can use the donate button on our website. You can use PayPal. You can mail us a check. You can use the Vanco mobile app. Lots of different ways for you to send your gift. We know that each and every gift is important and is so very much appreciated. It's the energy that carries us forward. It's how our love grows and how we can make a positive difference in people's lives. If you will, please hold your gift over your heart and let us set the intentions for our giving. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I choose to give and all that I am open to receive. I give in love and I receive in abundance. Thank you, God. I am so blessed. And while our contributions are on their way, Don will offer us a little bit more music.
If this were my last day, how would I do the same thing? If this were my last day, what would I do? If this were my last day, would I see the same things? If this were my last day, would I have a clue? If this were my last day, what would I do? Would I somehow live it differently? If this were my last day, what would I do? If this were my last day here with you? If this were my last day, what would I do? Would I somehow live it differently? If this were my last day, what would I do? If this were my last day here with you? If this were my last day, what would I do? If this were my last day here with you?
Thank you. Thank you, Don. That was wonderful. And I think that was an original, right? I think so.
That's it, yeah.
Yes, very good. Thank you so much for blessing us with the beautiful music. And now let us bless these gifts. Let us bless these gifts, knowing they come from love and gratitude to bring abundance to this community, to be of spiritual service, and to be according to divine will. And we know that so it is. The prayer for protection will close out our service. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you, God, and so it is. Thank you, everybody. Remember to check out the website and see what's going on with Unity Gainesville on the calendar.